Beyond the NBC lawsuit, the legal storm surrounding Diddy escalated into even darker territory this week. A man named Steve Otis came forward with a lawsuit that includes allegations so explosive they read like something out of a crime thriller. According to Otis, the events allegedly took place back in 2012 at a Midtown Manhattan hotel, but he says he waited over a decade to come forward because he feared for his life. His claims are disturbing. He alleges that after Diddy assaulted him, he was threatened with a chilling statement that has sent shockwaves through social media and the legal community. The quote, pulled directly from the lawsuit, reads, "I'm not effing playing with you. If I can get Pac hit, what the F do you think can happen to you?" That's Tupac Shakur, the legendary rapper murdered in 1996, directly referenced in a purported threat. The implication is monumental. If true, Diddy claimed he orchestrated the death of one of music's most iconic figures. The lawsuit frames this not as idle bravado, but as a credible confession suggesting access, power, and the capacity to manipulate events at the highest levels. Otis says he only felt safe filing the lawsuit after Diddy's incarceration, underscoring the climate of fear surrounding these allegations. The lawsuit goes further, detailing what Otis describes as an orchestrated and horrifying assault. He claims he was drugged with a water bottle, leaving him disoriented and unable to resist. The documents allege that Diddy forced him to perform sexual acts on a female companion while he observed, a pattern described as gender-based domination intended to humiliate and assert control over multiple victims simultaneously. When Otis attempted to flee to the bathroom, he claims Diddy followed, pinned him against the wall, and continued the assault for several minutes while he screamed and protested. The psychological and physical trauma of that night allegedly persisted for years, exacerbated by threats received later in 2014 through the escort agency that facilitated the initial encounter, Cowboys for Angels. Death threats, warnings, and intimidation allegedly reinforced a culture of silence that kept Otis from speaking out for over a decade. This development lands squarely in a tier, horrifying, believable, and revealing a pattern of behavior that escalates the stakes far beyond anything previously documented in Diddy's legal battles. These allegations also shed light on the operation of Cowboys for Angels itself, a male escort agency that Otis claims was deeply intertwined with Diddy's social and private life. According to the lawsuit, the agency's boss, Garen James aka Brett Taylor, prepped young men with explicit instructions: do whatever Diddy wanted, maintain total silence, and recognize the influence he wielded over their careers. When Otis arrived at the hotel suite, the alleged ritual began, a reclamation ritual, as the lawyers term it, where he was forced to participate while Diddy observed, followed by physical domination to reinforce authority. The allegations describe a systematic, organized network of control, coercion, and intimidation that functioned behind the glitzy veneer of celebrity lifestyle. While the details are deeply disturbing, this development is categorized as B-tier because, given Diddy's history and the patterns we've seen over the past year, it is tragically consistent with prior allegations. The shock factor is high, but the pattern of systematic exploitation and control is, sadly, becoming expected. Meanwhile, whispers about Diddy's interactions with young stars have also resurfaced. A blind item circulated on TikTok implicates Justin Bieber in Diddy's notorious parties, raising serious concerns. The blind item doesn't provide explicit proof but suggests inappropriate behavior occurred while Justin was still underage. Bieber, barely in his teens at the time, appears in old videos at Diddy's house, previously thought to be innocent mentorship. In retrospect, knowing the allegations surrounding Diddy's parties, drugging, exploitation, and coercion, the narrative feels darker and more alarming. Any allegation involving a minor automatically escalates the severity, and as such, this development falls into a tier. The implications are horrifying, whether proven true or not, and fit a concerning pattern of behavior surrounding these elite celebrity circles. The blind item also highlights the silence from high-profile figures, emphasizing how power, influence, and fear of exposure can intersect in unsettling ways. The revelations about Diddy's infamous white parties add another layer of disturbing context. These events, legendary for their glitz and celebrity attendance, allegedly had secret systems to facilitate illicit activity. A woman recently came forward describing being required to wear a black dress among a sea of guests in white, a visual signal that marked her as available for the darker activities occurring behind. The scenes, she describes feeling drugged, numb, and out of control, with guests lifting her dress and violating her as she walked by. This chilling level of organization underscores a terrifyingly methodical approach to exploitation, where appearances were carefully managed while abuse was systematized and normalized in hidden ways. While shocking, this ranks B-tier. It confirms suspicions about Diddy's private gatherings without entirely breaking from patterns that have been suggested over time. The web of power extends beyond parties and lawsuits, connecting Diddy to broader elite networks. Theories regarding connections between Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein's network have resurfaced, particularly in light of recent arrests. Former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO Mike Jeff and New York Mayor Eric Adams faced indictments shortly after Diddy's incarceration, fueling speculation about the interwoven nature of these circles. Historical connections, such as Les Wexner's relationship with Epstein and the timing of these arrests, paint a picture of coordinated power dynamics and protective systems among New York's elite. The implication is clear. This is not isolated misconduct, but a systemic pattern that may involve multiple powerful individuals shielding one another. This development is a tier because it highlights a broader, potentially systemic network of influence that escalates the stakes far beyond individual allegations. Even celebrities in Diddy's orbit are raising eyebrows. Archival footage shows the Kardashian family frequently attending Diddy's events over the years. While the family has remained silent, the evidence of proximity and social interaction is now harder to ignore. Silence, in this case, speaks volumes. Whether they were aware of the darker elements of these gatherings or not, their absence of comment fuels speculation and adds another layer of intrigue to Diddy's social and cultural influence. This is a tier because the combination of visibility, silence, and context creates credible suspicion, adding weight to the broader narrative of elite circles connected to controversy and alleged exploitation. Diddy's time in prison has not been uneventful either. A minor violation, making a three-way phone call with his lawyer and a PR representative, resulted in a one-month delay to his release, as well as a 90-day suspension of phone and commissary privileges. While seemingly minor, this episode underscores Diddy's relentless desire to control his narrative, even while incarcerated. It's predictable behavior, D tier, expected, unsurprising, and almost mundane relative to the scale of other allegations. Finally, the media war has reached a new level. Diddy's sons, Justin and Christian Combs, are reportedly producing their own documentary to defend their father, which will chronicle his life and address recent allegations. In an unexpected twist, they are also reportedly creating a documentary about 50 Cent, whose Netflix documentary on Diddy sparked some of the original controversy. This tit-for-tat media battle, documentary against documentary, adds a surreal, almost cinematic layer to the ongoing saga. Legal battles are one thing, but deploying media as a weapon in real time is another. This, without a doubt, is S tier, unprecedented, petty, high stakes, and entirely unexpected, marking a new chapter in the public spectacle surrounding one of hip-hop's most influential figures. From lawsuits to confessions, alleged assaults to social networks, secret party codes to documentary warfare, the past week paints a portrait of Diddy as a man operating at the intersection of fame, power, and controversy. Some of these developments shock, some confirm long-held suspicions, and some underscore the systemic networks surrounding him. Each story layers onto the next, creating a narrative of influence, fear, and media spectacle that continues to captivate and horrify the public. Next, we turn to the explosive Steve Otis lawsuit, a development that escalates Diddy's legal and public troubles to unprecedented levels. According to court documents, in 2012, Otis claims he was assaulted at a Midtown Manhattan hotel by Diddy in a scenario that he describes as terrifying and inescapable. The lawsuit includes a statement so chilling it reads like something from a crime thriller. "I'm not effing playing with you. If I can get Pac hit, what do you think can happen to you?" The references to Tupac Shakur, the legendary rapper whose murder in 1996 shocked the world. If this allegation is accurate, it is more than just a threat. It could be seen as a direct admission of involvement in high-profile criminal activity, or at the very least a brazen claim of power over life and death. Otis explains that he stayed silent for over a decade, fearing for his life. He only filed the lawsuit after Diddy was behind bars, believing that his own safety depended on the rapper's incarceration. The allegations go far beyond a verbal threat. Otis claims that he was drugged upon arrival, given a water bottle that incapacitated him, leaving him feeling numb, loopy, and disoriented. In this state, he alleges that he was coerced into sexual acts with a female companion while Diddy allegedly watched, an act intended to humiliate and exert control. When he attempted to escape to the bathroom, Otis says that Diddy followed him, pinned him against the wall, and assaulted him for several minutes as he screamed in protest. The lawsuit portrays a terrifyingly organized system of fear, where power and intimidation left victims with no choice but compliance. This earns an A tier rating. Decades of speculation regarding Diddy's alleged connection to Tupac have now entered formal legal documents, transforming rumors into sworn statements with potentially explosive legal and societal consequences. The lawsuit also exposes the operations of Cowboys for Angels, a male escort agency allegedly tied to Diddy. Otis claims that the agency's boss, Garen James, also known as Brett Taylor, played a pivotal role in preparing men for encounters with Diddy, instructing them to comply with every demand and to maintain absolute silence. According to the lawsuit, Otis was drugged, rubbed in baby oil, and subjected to acts that were designed to dominate and degrade him, all under Diddy's supervision. This demonstrates a meticulously orchestrated system of control and intimidation that ensured victims could not resist or escape without severe repercussions. While shocking, the allegations are consistent with patterns we've seen in other reports, placing this development in B tier, significant, illuminating, and disturbing, yet aligning with previously reported behavior in Diddy's inner circle. Adding another layer to this complex narrative is a blind item involving Justin Bieber, suggesting that the pop star may have been exposed to inappropriate behavior at Diddy's events during his early teenage years. Although unverified, allegations involving a minor are inherently serious, automatically escalating the severity to a tier. Bieber was extremely young, around 14 or 15, when he first spent time in Diddy's orbit. The blind item implies potential misconduct, though details are vague. Bieber's silence over the years, coupled with the timeline of these events, raises further concerns. The implications are chilling. If true, they suggest that Diddy's parties were not only about excess and entertainment, but also about predatory power dynamics that exploited young talent. Taken together, these developments depict a world in which influence, fear, and control were wielded systematically. Diddy's alleged behavior, the structured operations of Cowboys for Angels, and the potential exposure of minors paint a picture of a meticulously controlled environment in which intimidation and exploitation were normalized. The Otis lawsuit and related allegations signal a pivotal moment in Diddy's saga, transforming whispers and rumors into formal legal claims that could have profound consequences for all involved. Beyond the lawsuits, new revelations about Diddy's infamous white parties have begun to surface, painting an even darker picture. These legendary gatherings, known for their ostentatious displays of wealth and fashion, allegedly concealed a secret system designed to identify and exploit individuals. According to a woman who recently came forward, attendees selected to participate in extras were required to wear black, while the rest of the guests wore white. The black dress acted as a signal, a silent code that indicated who would be offered up for sexual exploitation or coerced participation in the party's hidden activities. She describes being drugged, disoriented, and unable to control her body, while men at the party used the dress code as an unspoken invitation to assault her. This revelation illustrates a premeditated, organized approach to abuse that went far beyond spontaneous misconduct. While horrifying, these details are consistent with prior allegations and reports, earning a B tier. Disturbing, but fitting a pattern of calculated control we've already begun to understand. Further compounding the narrative are potential connections between Diddy and other powerful figures, including Jeffrey Epstein's network. The overlap between their social circles, combined with the timing of arrests and legal actions against associates, has fueled speculation about coordinated protection and silencing mechanisms among wealthy elites. From former CEOs like Mike Jeff to city officials like Eric Adams, connections suggest that influence, money, and access created a web in which accountability was often elusive. This too lands in a tier, as it highlights a potential system of power that extends beyond Diddy himself, suggesting a network in which accountability and justice are deeply complicated by wealth and influence. In total, these revelations go far beyond simple celebrity scandal. They reveal an intricate web of control, fear, and systemic exploitation, elevating the stakes for Diddy's ongoing legal battles. From lawsuits to blind items, from party revelations to potential networks of influence, the past week alone has fundamentally reshaped the public understanding of the environment surrounding Diddy. These developments are not just headlines, they are pieces of a larger story, one that is still unfolding and promises to have serious legal, social, and cultural ramifications. Diddy's time in prison has not been quiet, and recent developments underscore just how restless and controlling he remains, even behind bars. His scheduled release has been delayed by a month, from May 2028 to June 2028, after he broke prison rules by conducting a three-way phone call. This call involved Diddy himself, his lawyer, and a PR representative, all coordinating to draft a statement for the New York Times. While to the outside observer it might seem minor, in the rigid rule-bound environment of a federal prison, this is a serious infraction. Inmates are permitted to communicate with their attorneys under strict supervision, and looping in a third party, especially a media professional, violates those protocols. As punishment, Diddy lost his phone privileges and commissary access for 90 days. No calls, no personal purchases, and a tangible restriction on his ability to communicate. For most, this would be a minor story. For Diddy, however, this is entirely predictable behavior. The man has spent his entire life meticulously curating his image, controlling narratives, and asserting influence over every story involving him. That instinct doesn't vanish when you enter prison walls, it only adapts to the constraints of the environment. This development, while noteworthy, lands firmly in D tier, not shocking, not unexpected. It's Diddy being Diddy, relentless, defiant, and unwilling to relinquish control even when every structural barrier is designed to keep him in check. Yet outside the prison walls, the drama continues in a form that could only exist in the era of streaming, social media, and celebrity media warfare. Diddy's sons, Justin and Christian Combs, have entered the media battlefield themselves, creating what could be called documentary warfare. While Diddy's legal team navigates lawsuits, his sons are reportedly producing a documentary to defend and honor their father's legacy, a direct response to 50 Cent's own documentary, which drew millions of viewers and cast Diddy in a controversial light. But they aren't stopping there. They are also reportedly creating a documentary about 50 Cent himself, essentially turning media storytelling into a weapon, a battle for narrative supremacy. This escalation is unprecedented. Legal battles are one thing, but two high-profile families using documentaries as countermeasures in a public feud adds a new, almost surreal layer to the drama. It is S-tier material because it is unexpected, audacious, and petty in the most spectacular way. Nobody could have predicted that legal rivalries would evolve into a full-blown media war, with Netflix-level budgets, cinematic storytelling, and strategic counter-narratives aimed at shaping public perception. It's a modern-day rap feud played out in courtrooms and streaming platforms simultaneously, a clash of legacy, power, and influence conducted with cameras rolling. Taken together, this week's updates reveal a striking portrait of Diddy's world. From the courtroom battles and explosive allegations to the prison defiance and media retaliation orchestrated by his family, the scope of activity surrounding him is staggering. The stories expose a network of influence, manipulation, and strategic control, showing not just the consequences of fame and wealth, but also the lengths people will go to protect, defend, and when necessary, attack the narratives that define them. As the trial approaches and more information surfaces, these tier rankings may shift. But for now, the combination of lawsuits, shocking allegations, media counterattacks, and the persistent orchestration of power behind bars paints a vivid cinematic picture of one of the most controversial figures in modern entertainment. This week more than ever demonstrates that in Diddy's world, nothing is ever as it seems, and every move, legal, social, or media-related, carries stakes that extend far beyond the individual. Diddy is in even deeper trouble this week. We're talking about a staggering $100 million lawsuit, allegations that bring Tupac Shakur back into the conversation, and prison drama that seems to escalate by the hour. Every single development has sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, and the ripple effects are impossible to ignore. To make sense of it all, I'm ranking each update on a tier list to separate the shocking from the expected. Some of these stories are beyond wild, and they reveal a side of Diddy the public rarely sees, a world of influence, power, and controversy that extends far beyond the glitz and glamour of his public persona. Welcome back to Bad Boy Weekly, Episode 4. For those new here, this is the series where we break down every headline, rumor, and legal maneuver involving Diddy over the past week, giving context, analysis, and an unfiltered tier ranking. The past 7 days have been nothing short of chaotic. Here is how the tier system works. S-tier represents events that are completely shocking, unprecedented, and unexpected. A tier includes major, believable developments that escalate the stakes. B-tier highlights interesting, noteworthy updates that, while serious, align with expectations. And D-tier covers the mundane, predictable, and fully expected things consistent with Diddy's established patterns. Before diving into the stories, let's set the scene. Diddy has been behind bars in a New Jersey prison for several months, facing severe federal charges including racketeering and sex trafficking. These are not minor allegations, they carry the weight of potential decades-long consequences. Alongside these criminal charges, Diddy is grappling with multiple civil lawsuits from various claimants, each adding pressure and scrutiny. His criminal trial is set for later this year, and every passing week intensifies the tension. Most celebrities in this position retreat into silence, leaving statements to their attorneys and avoiding public exposure. But Diddy is different. Even from behind bars, he actively fights back, filing lawsuits, issuing statements, and attempting to control the narrative on his own terms. The past week alone has been a whirlwind of lawsuits, allegations, and media maneuvers, each development more jaw-dropping than the last. The first headline involves a massive $100 million lawsuit Diddy filed against NBC, Peacock TV, and Ample Entertainment over the documentary Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. Diddy calls it a shameless hit piece filled with lies and unverified claims. He submitted a sworn affidavit, placing himself under penalty of perjury, a legal move signaling how seriously he disputes the content. In this affidavit, Diddy categorically denies any involvement in Kimberly Porter's death, the murders of Christopher Wallace, Notorious B.I.G., Andre Harrell, and Heavy D, and also rejects allegations surrounding the so-called freak-off parties, including the exploitation of minors. According to his legal team, NBC rushed the documentary to beat Netflix's competing 50 Cent project to the market, relying on only 3 sources: YouTuber Jaguar Wright, former bodyguard Gan Deal, and a single anonymous informant. Diddy's lawyers argue this limited research produced a misleading narrative, giving conspiracy theories about Porter's death far more screen time than her official cause of death, pneumonia. This lawsuit lands in B tier, bold, serious, and noteworthy, but unsurprising considering Diddy's history of aggressively defending his image. Next, the explosive Steve Otis lawsuit escalates the stakes significantly. According to court filings in 2012, Otis alleges that Diddy assaulted him at a Midtown Manhattan hotel and issued a chilling threat. "I'm not effing playing with you. If I can get Pac hit, what do you think can happen to you?" The reference to Tupac Shakur, murdered in 1996, is staggering. If true, this could be interpreted as a direct admission of involvement in high-profile crimes. Otis reportedly stayed silent for over a decade, fearing for his life, and only filed the lawsuit after Diddy was incarcerated. The allegations go further. Otis claims he was drugged, coerced into sexual acts while Diddy watched, and physically assaulted when he tried to escape. This lawsuit provides an unprecedented glimpse into a system of power, control, and fear allegedly surrounding Diddy, earning it in a tier ranking, turning long-standing rumors into sworn court documents with potentially catastrophic implications. The Cowboys for Angels agency also emerges in Otis's lawsuit. This male escort service allegedly collaborated with Diddy, with boss Garen James instructing men to comply with Diddy's demands and maintain silence. Otis describes being drugged, rubbed with baby oil, and coerced into acts designed to humiliate him while Diddy observed. The system was organized, calculated, and intimidating, designed to ensure Diddy's dominance and control. This earns a B-tier ranking, deeply disturbing and illuminating, but consistent with a pattern seen in other allegations. A blind item involving Justin Bieber adds another layer of concern. Posted on TikTok, it suggests inappropriate interactions with Diddy during Bieber's early teenage years. While unverified, the implications are horrifying. Any allegation involving a minor is inherently serious. Children cannot consent, and the mere possibility of exposure to such behavior escalates the situation to a tier. Although the blind item lacks specifics, the context of Diddy's parties and buy. Bieber's early career raises significant questions, particularly given Bieber's silence. Further revelations involve Diddy's notorious white parties, famous for glamour and celebrity attendance. A woman recently came forward describing a hidden system. Participants wearing black were signals for sexual extras, while those in white appeared innocent. The black-dressed attendees were allegedly chosen, drugged, and made available for exploitation. These parties, meticulously organized, maintained an outward appearance of sophistication while concealing dark undercurrents. While horrifying in detail, this aligns with prior suspicions, earning a B-tier ranking. Shocking, yes, but sadly expected. Connections between Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein's network are also under scrutiny. Arrests of figures such as Mike Jeff, former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, and New York City Mayor Eric Adams suggest overlapping circles of influence. Les Wexner, Epstein's close associate, ties into this network through his control of Abercrombie and Victoria's Secret, with Epstein acting as his financial manager. These intersecting connections indicate a broader system of power, influence, and possibly coordinated protection, marking this as an A-tier development, systemic issues and networks extending far beyond Diddy himself. The Kardashians also appear in these updates. Archival footage shows Kim, Lo, Kourtney, and Kris Jenner attending Diddy events and socializing with him regularly. Given the newly revealed details about the parties, the drugs, assaults, and sexual exploitation, their silence becomes conspicuous. Were they aware? Did they choose to stay quiet for convenience? This isn't a tier revelation. The footage is difficult to find, and their continued silence raises legitimate questions about what they may have witnessed and the decisions they made in those environments. A more mundane but still noteworthy update involves Diddy's prison conduct. His release was delayed from May to June 2028 after breaking prison rules by making a three-way phone call involving his lawyer and a PR representative, aiming to draft a statement for the New York Times. Three-way calls are prohibited, and as punishment, Diddy lost phone and commissary privileges for 90 days. This is D-tier, unsurprising, and consistent with his pattern of controlling his image obsessively, even behind bars. Finally, we reach S-tier, documentary warfare. Diddy's sons, Justin and Christian Combs, are producing a documentary not only to defend their father but also targeting 50 Cent, whose Netflix documentary chronicled Diddy's life. Legal battles have transformed into media battles, with documentaries now weaponized in public feuds. Multi-million-dollar productions are being used for strategic retaliation, a calculated move combining familial loyalty, public perception, and media influence. This is peak entertainment and entirely unexpected. This is the complete roundup. Every major Diddy update, from lawsuits and party revelations to prison behavior and media retaliation, has been analyzed and ranked. Which development shocked you the most? Do you agree with these tier rankings, or would you place something higher or lower? As the trial date approaches, revelations will continue to emerge and the story shows no signs of slowing. The next few weeks promise more chaos, more legal maneuvers, and more headline-making developments. Stay tuned, because in Diddy's world, every week rewrites the rules of celebrity, power, and controversy.